1, 2, 3, 4.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dot Bets checking back in. We have episode 9 of the On the Dot podcast coming at you guys. We are here to talk today, a little recap of the first week of the preseason, and then our wide receivers, tiers, sleepers, and busts. As always, I am joined today, this evening, this beautiful day, with my co-host at Sidekick Picks. How are we feeling tonight?
Pretty good. It's good to finally get back on this thing, and hopefully we don't miss any more days moving forward.
Right. Yeah. No kidding. Sidekicks family pretty much got a lot of sickness of the COVID. So they're all in the clear, all healthy now. So we should be going back to our bi-weekly 2 episodes a week schedule as we get going. It was exciting to have football back. That's plain and simple. It was exciting to watch football. I remember I texted my wife and I said, yeah, we have football tonight. And she's like, okay, that's Thursday. She's like, okay, so probably just Sunday then again? And I was like, oh, no, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And she just rolled her eyes and said, great.
Yeah. My wife found out I was betting on preseason football. And she didn't take it very well, but
on that note, we are on fire to start the season. We are combined 14-3-1. We've had a very, very good start. All of there's so many angles to be found in preseason. Literally, all you have to do is watch, or not even watch the game. Just listen to the beat writers before the game, and make sure you just kind of put common sense together. Hey, this guy is not playing. This guy is playing. These guys are playing their starters in the first quarter, yada, yada. There's a lot of edges to be made. And so at Sidekicks and I have dominated the start of it. So we are excited to keep going that route.
And definitely check our Twitter pages, because I'll be posting all preseason, all my picks. So
yep, and that you can find in the description on YouTube, and then it's at On the Dot pod on Twitter. So go ahead, give that a follow, give ourselves a follow on there. And then before we get going, always start your research with props.cash. We will give you guys 25% off. Use promo code On the Dot. That gives you your first purchase off your first month of 25%. We are going to be doing a live show every Sunday morning powered by them. We could not be any more pumped to be partners with them. So go ahead, sign up with our promo code, and then DM us on Twitter if you do, because we'll give you guys a free month of VIP. All right. So some key takeaways from the preseason week 1. My first one is the injury to Zach Wilson. Kind of thought it was more serious than it ended up being. I think it's just classified as a bone bruise currently, but the clip did not look good. It was a non-contact injury as he tried to pivot, and his knee buckled. Did not look good. He's possible for week 1. Are you concerned for the outlook of the receivers or of the offense as a whole if Joe Flacco has to go?
I'm concerned for the Jets all the time, and not necessarily with it doesn't matter who's at quarterback, but they're definitely going to take somewhat of a hit. But I mean, Flacco's a veteran guy; he's been to a Super Bowl, so I mean, I'm not really a fan of any skill guys on the Jets fantasy wise. So,
I mean, I think it'll be all right. I think if it was a season long injury, then it'd be alarming. But I think Joe Flacco can do it for a couple weeks, and then Zach Wilson get back up to speed. But I'm still high on guys. Elijah Moore. You got Breece Hall. So I'm still a little bit. I'm cautious of them, but I'm still not going to. If I have the ability to draft them, I'm not going to pass just because Zach Wilson might miss a week or two.
Yeah, I've done several best ball tournaments so far this off season, and I don't know if I have any Jets guys on my teams.
All right, and then we got the second biggest one to me was the Lions' first drive. That was a sight to see, and if anybody watched Hard Knocks out there, you could tell they were ready to go. Dan Campbell had his guys absolutely flawless in that first drive. Amon St. Brown, you had DeAndre Swift, DJ Chark. Everybody looked very good. Granted, it is one drive, but there is optimism to be had in Detroit. Jared Goff has been a quarterback to the Super Bowl. He has led a team there. And I'm not saying they're Super Bowl bound by any means. I'm just saying I think this team can surprise some people in that North. I don't think they're going to end up winning it. But as we talked in our NFC North breakdown, this is a team that I think can definitely outperform its win measure. I think it was like over 6.5 last time we looked. But what are your thoughts on this Lions team? I mean, Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown, just they lit it up for me.
Yeah, this team is loaded with offensive weapons. I'm really big on them fantasy-wise. One guy we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but I want to bring up his preseason game stats, and that's DJ Chark. 4 catches, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think this is a guy that we may see a resurgence of. He had 1,000 yards in 2019 and 8 touchdown catches. I think we're going to see something similar to that this season.
Hey, and he was supposed to be that guy in Jacksonville, never turned out. Hey, another change of scenery does wonders sometimes, and I could definitely see him having a resurgent year with the Lions. You still have Hawkinson, you still have St. Brown, you're still going to have Swift kind of competing. So he doesn't have to be that number one guy, but he could be a solid wide receiver 3 that you guys can end up starting, I think, some weeks. All right. Third one that I got written down here, Travis Etienne. I mean, if you could have scripted it any better, he received double-digit touches the first game and just looked explosive, looked elite, looked everything that us fantasy managers, us DFS players truly want in a back currently. We want somebody that can catch the ball out of the backfield and is going to have goal line touches. You're not getting a better deal here than with Etienne. And if you can get him in best balls late, or if you can get him in your home drafts a little bit later, then I think his ADP is just going to keep going up. So if you're drafting currently, just swoop him up as soon as you can.
Yeah, and this is another team that I'm pretty excited about. They're loaded offensively as well. Lawrence looked really sharp. Zay Jones might be a guy to keep your eye out for. I think he has a really good connection with Trevor Lawrence. So another sneaky pick that you might be able to bring onto your fantasy team late.
Agreed. Yeah. And so I think I'll tune in to a lot more Jags games than I thought I would have, especially if I end up rostering Etienne in some of my leagues. Obviously, I'm going to be following them a little bit more, but I am excited for that step forward from Lawrence this year. I think just without the circus show of Urban Meyer, you get a little bit more professionalism around that locker room. It's going to do wonders. Etienne being back is also a safety valve for him. He's played 3-4 seasons with him at Clemson. They know each other very well. This should tune into a very good duo here.
I do have a story.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts. He had so many question marks, and again, it's one game, it's one drive, but so many question marks with his throwing ability and how he's going to translate this fantasy season, because we've seen him do it with his legs. Now, can he put it all together? And man, he looked outstanding in the first game. 6 for 6, 80 yards, and a touchdown. So this is a guy that you can get in the middle of your draft that I think might bounce into that tier 1 quarterback category.
Yeah, they're known for running the football, and I think they passed it all 11 times. They just wanted to say, okay, let's run these pass plays and get after it. So it was exciting to see. I had him in my tier 2 for my quarterbacks, and I could maybe regret that, but I'm going to stand firm because I want to see him do it on another year under his belt. But there's no question in the upside. There's no questioning his rushing ability, anything about it. This Eagles offense should be loaded as we pick them to win that NFC East already. And then couple backfield notes before we get to our wide receiver breakdown. The Chiefs backfield is a huge question mark behind CEH. McKinnon, Jones, and Isaiah, was it Pacheco? I asked you before the air, and I was like, how the hell do you say it? So I'm terrible with names. But I think Isaiah has a pretty clear shot to be number 2, but I'm still not giving up because Jerick McKinnon is loved by that coaching staff. So I think McKinnon, if anything were to happen to CEH, and he's like glass some weeks, I would still give the nod to McKinnon.
Yeah, but I wouldn't touch Ronald Jones at all. He might get cut.
Yeah, I've been seeing those rumors of him getting cut. I don't know if he will, but man, he's not doing anything that's saying, hey, please keep me on this roster at all. The other backfield is the Washington Commanders backfield. You tweeted about it this morning. The fumble by Antonio Gibson. And if you look at the preseason last year, all the hype that he got, and then now it's everyone's fade list. And it's because everyone has a sour taste in his mouth. Are you ready to jump off of the Antonio Gibson train, or are you going to stay on that?
Oh, I'm way off. I'm walking. I'm not getting on that train. Yeah, I have a sour taste in my mouth because I had him in a lot of leagues last year, and like I said, I've been doing a lot of best ball drafts, and he's a guy that's getting scooped up around like the 4th or 5th round. I'm not touching him. I'm gonna pick Brian Robinson super late, like one of my last picks. So I think Brian Robinson has a good chance to start. If not right off the bat, I think he'll work himself in there by the middle of the season.
Yeah, and then you got J.D. McKissick there, who has already shown that he can withstand that entire backfield. He is known for the change of pace guy, but when Gibson did get hurt in games, he was the guy that played a majority of the snaps. So the coach staff does have some faith here in McKissick, and then you have Brian Robinson as well. I'm not totally off of the train, but I mean, you got to get him at good value. You can't be reaching for Antonio Gibson if you're gonna win your league this year whatsoever. And he cannot be your RB1. He has to be your RB2 or your flex play. If he's your RB2, it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want him for an RB2.
Yeah. All right. So last one that I got is the backfield behind Singletary. That intrigued me because I thought this was James Cook. It should have been James Cook, and then all of a sudden Zach Moss came out of nowhere and started having half the snaps as James Cook did in the preseason. Granted, it's one game. Just wanted to throw that out there that Zach Moss is not out of it, and he could potentially eat into James Cook. So maybe take flyers on Zach Moss instead of James Cook, because James Cook's getting drafted very mid rounds. And if he's not even the guy and he's not even the backup, if Singletary were to go down, then you could get a steal with Zach Moss here.
Yeah, the Buffalo situation for running backs is scary to me. I don't think I've touched anyone in that backfield. Another scary situation is the Raiders backfield. Like,
Nothing to do with that.
yeah, like Josh Jacobs, what's going on with him? You saw Zamir White, who looked really good in the first preseason, but then didn't do anything yesterday. We saw Kenyon Drake get more involved yesterday, and he looked all right. And then Abdullah, did Abdullah even play yesterday?
I didn't see much of him.
Saw much of him. So like it's just a cluster, and I don't know. I was seeing some upside with Zamir White, but now I'm kind of like I don't know if I want to reach for him either.
Yeah, that's just a classic Josh McDaniels backfield that you
Yeah.
are more than likely going to want to avoid. And yeah, that team is going to throw the football a ton. So I'd rather target Adams or Waller there. You guys will see why I'm not on Renfro shortly. But yeah, I'm staying away from that backfield. I mean, obviously, someone's going to have to roster Jacobs. If you are, it's just not very. You're not going to pump your chest and say, "Yeah, I have Josh Jacobs on my team. Let's go." You're going to be like, "Oh shit, I gotta scramble and maybe stream a running back every so often now." So, all right. If anybody else has any takes on week 1 of the preseason, hit us up on Twitter, leave a comment in the YouTube. And before we do get our wide receiver breakdown going, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and make sure you hit that like button. We are close to 100 subscribers. I think we need 30 something more. And once we get to 100 subscribers, it will be a $100 giveaway. So we want to hit that before the NFL season. We have less than a month. We were on a roll. We got to get some more subscribers. Hopefully those live shows will tick them up as well. So, all right, moving on with the wide receiver tiers, sleepers, and busts. So let's start with our tiers. You want to go with your tier 1? Our tier 1s are the exact same, by the way. So you can break that down. It's pretty easy.
This one's pretty cut and dry. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. Now, I have been seeing a lot of people switch the Jefferson Chase mix, but either one of those guys is going to be fine. If you can get your hands on any one, you're set up pretty well right off the bat.
And I've seen some people swap Adams for Diggs. Or I've seen people
go back too.
Really?
Yeah. People are taking Chase like second or third overall.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I think because maybe that Stafford, the elbow thing, maybe that's what happened. But I mean, those are the top 4 in my opinion. You got Chase, or you got Jefferson, Kupp, Diggs, then Chase, in my opinion. I think Chase is the 4th. Chase that doesn't scare me. There's just the Bengals play slower than all the rest of those teams, and T. Higgins is there. So he just scares me. If I had to not choose one of these 4 on my team, I wouldn't choose Jamar Chase, which is crazy to say, but I had to pick. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that. He's the one with the biggest question mark out of the 4 because we have more numbers to go by with the other 3.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I've seen Adams and Diggs switch, but I'm leaning Diggs here. The Josh Allen Diggs combo has just been amazing. Yeah. There's no need to second guess that. It's going to happen every single year. Nobody can stop that. So my tier 2, I got 5 receivers here: Adams, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Debo, and Mikey Evans. So those are my 5. I mean, you could have probably a big case for any one of them to get up in tier 1. Plain and simple. If you roster them as your wide receiver 1, you're not going to complain. But I would think if you got these guys as your wide receiver 2 somehow, you're loaded. You'd be absolutely loaded somehow.
I think the only guy that I would want for first round out of this group would be Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got five receivers going in the first round, and then you got 5-6 backs that could be right there too. So I don't know if I would reach on like Mike Evans or CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill or Debo, but I would definitely fit Devontae Adams in that mix.
Yeah, and CeeDee Lamb might lead the entire NFL in receptions this year. He's literally the only wide receiver currently worth a damn, in my opinion, on the roster. You got Gallup, who's not going to be there for a couple weeks. Tolbert will be okay. You got Schultz. It's going to be the CeeDee Lamb show, and he lines up everywhere on the field. They're going to get the ball in his hands. I'm excited to watch CeeDee this year. He has the ability to end up being the overall wide receiver one. There's a little bit more risk here with how that offense is shaping up to be.
And that's my concern is I don't feel 100% confident taking CeeDee Lamb because he's pretty much the only guy there.
Mm-hmm. And then Evans, Mike Evans could lead the league in touchdowns. He could easily do it. He could easily have 20 touchdowns easily. There's just a lot of weapons there. There's a ton. You're going to have Fournette that eats into it. You have Gage, Julio, and you have Godwin that's coming back. That's the only reason why he's not in my tier one. Is plain and simple. There's too many options to go around, and only way he gets to that tier one is if he scores 17 plus touchdowns, 15 plus touchdowns. But that'd be insane. That's my only argument against Mike Evans.
Yeah, I like Mike Evans. He's consistent and he can put up a lot of points for you. But like you said, there's a lot of other people on that team that want the ball too.
All right. Anybody else you want to go over on tier two?
Tyreek Hill is a guy we should probably talk about a little bit just because he's a tier one talent, but he's fallen off. And you can get him kind of late in the second round. How do you feel about taking Tyreek Hill?
I am more skeptical the more training camp happens. I don't know if you saw the interview, but Tua was interviewed on the sideline of their preseason game, and he talked about comfort, and he didn't seem confident in the offense just yet, which could change. Obviously, this is a new offense for him to learn, but you would think by now he would have some comfortability, and if not, he would be in the preseason, maybe practicing on maybe a series or two. So that was alarming to me. Plus, he gets a downgrade at the quarterback position. Obviously, Mahomes and Tyreek were special. They knew where they were going to be, and if not, Mahomes just threw it near him, and somehow, some way, Tyreek got it. I don't think that's going to be the same here with Tua. He's going to have to be a read quarterback, and it's going to be a go route to Tyreek, and he's got to just know it's there. He's not going to be scrambling and then somehow make a 60-yard pass to Tyreek that he takes to the house. It's more methodical, in my opinion, here. That's why he gets a slight bump to tier two. Plus, you have Jalen Waddle there, who surged last year, and he could take up a bunch of targets for him.
See, that's kind of how I feel too. It's another pick I don't feel confident in.
Yeah.
You want him on your team, but your first two picks, you got to feel real good about. And I don't know if I feel real good about taking him.
Yeah, it definitely comes with some risk. And it's just from a week-to-week standpoint, I just don't know how consistent he's going to be. He wasn't very consistent in KC. There's games where he put up 4 points. But I don't know. We'll see. I am a little bit skeptical with Tyreek as well. So my tier three, I think I got 6 guys here. And these are pretty much the last guys that I would consider. I wouldn't be happy. I'm not saying that. I would be okay with if they were my wide receiver ones, but they have some risk to them. But it's Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, and then you got Mike Williams. And we can break that down. You got anybody different in this tier?
Tier 3 is a little heavier. There's people that, if you're just going off of ADP, that are in this mix, like McLaurin, Sutton, Cooks. Like you and I talked earlier about McLaurin. We're both not really sold on him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more excited about tier 4, which doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But like I'm more excited about tier 4 than I am tier 3. But that's pretty much just going off of ADP and what the experts say you should take. That's my list as well.
Yeah, and someone that you mentioned that's not in this tier for me is Cortland Sutton. There's question marks, the whole new offense, and Russell is going to do what Russell does. I'm not. It's more of I just want to see it, and maybe to project it that high. I feel more comfortable if Sutton was my wide receiver 2 this year than my 1, plain and simple. And these guys are like, if I had to have a wide receiver 1, if I went running back, and this is all I had left, I would be okay with these 6 guys being my wide receiver 1. That's how I saw it as.
Yeah, that's fair. I like Higgins, I like Brown, Moore, Pittman, even Mike Williams, but Keenan Allen too. I like those guys too.
Yeah, and both Chargers, both Chargers or wide receivers in tier 3, because both are going to have probably over 1,000 receiving yards. They're going to throw the ball a hell of a lot. And does Eckler take more of those touchdowns, or who takes more of those touchdowns away from these two that they don't get to that tier 2 and tier 1? That's my thing with these guys.
Yeah.
But DJ Moore and Pittman, those guys are surging in my mind every single week. I don't know what it is. Pittman, I had him last year, and he was very inconsistent, but I think that was more of quarterback play.
Yeah, Pittman's good.
Pittman's going to be solid. And I was a little bit late to that party, and now I'm boozing at that party because I'm having a good time. So I really, really like if you got Michael Pittman. If you got Pittman as your 1, it's dicey. But if you get him as your 2 in fantasy, you're going to be very, very happy with the output.
Yeah, I don't think he's a 1 guy yet, just because of quarterback again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he gets an upgrade from last year for sure.
A huge upgrade, huge. Tier 4, real quick, and then I got 5 tiers. So this one here: Marquise Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, McLaurin, Metcalf, A-Rob, Sutton, and then Waddle. So I put both of those Broncos receivers in this tier, kind of putting them below the Chargers duo, because I've seen the Chargers duo. I have not seen that duo. So I grouped them together, and I think waiting on Jerry Jeudy might be a better play. That's why I had him listed a little bit higher than Sutton. And then the guys that I'm not too high on in this group are Terry McLaurin and DK Metcalf. They're going to be listed in my bust list this year.
See, I don't even have Metcalf until the 5th tier. I have A-Rob, Jalen Waddle, Deontay Johnson, Gabriel Davis, Darnell Mooney, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Sorry, I do have St. Brown in here. Sorry,
yeah.
I did. Yeah, I did. Yep.
I think out of this group, the 2 that I'm most excited about is Allen Robinson and St. Brown. And then I would say Waddle and Mooney, but I'm not sold on Johnson or Davis.
What do you think about Deontay? He's intriguing to me. He's intriguing.
He's just a big question mark. Like, I don't know if I want him on my team.
Man, the Steelers receiving core, I think, is a hidden. I think it's a hidden gem.
They are very talented.
Yeah,
like you have Claypool and Pickens. Like, they are a very talented group. But for some reason, fantasy wise, like last year and this year, like I just don't know if I want any of that.
Yeah, and the volume was absurd because Big Ben threw it a ton.
Yeah.
So
And like
and
Juju Smith was in the mix last year, and he was supposed to be the guy, but he wasn't the guy. And Claypool got a lot of action. Like,
yeah.
there's just too much. It sounds bad, but there's like too much talent on that receiving core to even figure out who to take.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit more high on the upside here with the Steelers. I think being a little bit more competitive than what people think. They think Big Ben's gone. They're going to struggle to move the football. They have an elite defense that can help them get into positive field position. And you're going to have Claypool. You're going to have Deontay Johnson. You're going to have Pickens all involved. And I think Deontay's the safer play because he's used all over the field. And Trubisky should be able to kind of, I would say, lock him in as his guy, as you'll see throughout the year, because he'll just trust where he's at. I just feel like Deontay's a very good route runner where the quarterback can trust him to know where he's going to go. But that's where I lean here with Deontay over those other two in this tier. Other guy I want to talk about is A-Rob, and obviously with me being a Rams fan, it's exciting to see because I was very, very high on Robert Woods because that second guy, McVay, just loves to get open because he uses them as decoys to an extent, and that's how Kupp gets open so often. But then he can do it vice versa and get the same look for his 1B or number 2 option there. And if A-Rob continues to have the training camp that he is, you're going to get a steal here at ADP, a guy that could end up being an elite wide receiver too.
Yeah, this like A-Rob's a bad dude. He has 3 seasons with over 1,000 yards, and this guy is not shy of the football. 150 targets and 4+ seasons, 94 in another. Like, he's used to getting the ball, and I think he's gonna mesh really well with the system. Like, I'm big on A-Rob this year.
Yep, another guy.
And I think that's part of the reason why, like, I don't want Deontay Johnson on my team, because if I'm drafting and I have these select guys in my site, like, I'm taking Robinson or I'm taking St. Brown.
Right, that's true. I can see what you're talking about there. But A-Rob, just like a change of scenery, another guy who goes to an elite offense compared to what he had in Chicago, and should end up thriving and should be able to get open with ease in the McVay system. So last tier I want to break down. I got about 8 guys in here. I got Rashad Bateman, Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper, Godwin, Mooney, Elijah Moore, Juju, and then 2 old-timers, Adam Thielen and Michael Thomas. So a bigger group here. Bigger group.
Yeah, this is a pretty big group. Like, I don't even know. See, that's what's so strange about tiers with receivers, is because the further down you go, you're like looking at these guys and you're like, I don't want these guys. Like, if I'm looking at tier 5, the guys that stick out to me, like Marquise Brown is there. He's another question mark guy. Talented, but I didn't really like him with the Ravens, so I don't know what to expect with him in Arizona. I like Judy. I like Chris Godwin. I like Adam Thielen. Christian Kirk's another guy that I don't.
You throw Kirk in there.
Yeah, like, I don't know how he's gonna be with Jacksonville. So typically I skip over him.
Right.
Michael Thomas I like. Chris Olave is on here. I think he's going to be pretty decent.
Yep. I think Thomas, he's the most bona fide, obviously, because he was the wide receiver 1 for the longest period of time. If he can get back to a little bit more of what he did with Drew Brees, now with Winston, man, you're going to get a steal here with Michael Thomas. I hope his ADP doesn't rise too much. Otherwise, it's going to be a fade for me. If he starts creeping up into that, I think he's 3rd round or so, 3rd or 4th roundish. If he goes around there, I don't know. If he keeps creeping a little bit higher and higher every single week, just screams fade. If you had a best ball and you were doing something in the summertime and you maybe got him extremely late, that'd probably be the best case scenario with Thomas.
One guy you could put on here too is DeAndre Hopkins. Like fantasy
another
wise,
guy. Yep.
he's going pretty late in drafts right now. And I mean, if you're loaded up with a tier 1, maybe a tier 2 receiver, why not take him as your fourth receiver?
Right.
Or even your third receiver and wait 8 weeks.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get some depth on your team though if you're gonna want him, and then you're gonna have to wait. One last guy I want to talk about in this tier is Juju. I really think so. He played all 11 snaps with first team and with Mahomes. And if you somehow don't have anybody from the Kansas City Chiefs and you only roster Juju this year, I think you're going to be happy because he's going to fit into this offense seamlessly. He's going to play inside. He's going to go outside. He's a big target for him. And I really think he emerges as the best wide receiver. And you can even read local beat writers of them. They love what Juju's brought to the table in this offense. And Mahomes has stated he loves what Juju's brought. So you could wait and maybe get Juju as your wide receiver 3 or your flex, whatever league you're playing in. And I think he's got big time upside here.
Yeah, I would say he has more upside than downside for sure. He's just another guy that so many question marks. That's why this tier is like so hard to read because of that. And I think when I've been doing my drafts, I go to another position when I get to this tier because I don't know, I'm just so turned off by it.
If Godwin falls, if he keeps falling, he's just absolute steal. But I don't think he's going to keep falling. His ADP will rise with his health. So by the time people are drafting, if they haven't already drafted, if they start to draft, they're going to see his name and be like, "Whoa, why is he still out here? I got to take him." And so that's why I don't think there's going to be as much value with Godwin as there is with Juju there. So you want to get into your bus? I got a couple.
You can go ahead and start.
So I'll just name my first 2 that I talked about: Scary Terry and DK Metcalf. Basically, it's where they're being drafted. Their ADP currently is wide receiver 16 for Terry and 18 for DK Metcalf. Both got downgrades at the quarterback position, and just not 2 guys that I feel very comfortable rostering. Their output can significantly decrease. I do think DK can still get there with touchdowns because he's a beast in the red zone. But I'm pretty sure we took his over touchdowns in the previous episodes. But where he's getting drafted at, I want different guys than compared to these 2, Terry and DK.
Yeah, I'm with you on there. One guy you could potentially add to the mix is Amari Cooper. Yep. But again, his ADP is not really high. I think his ADP is probably pretty fair. But with the recent Deshaun Watson news, you got Brissett back there. I don't know. And he's never been a top 2 tier. I think he's been top 2 a couple of times, but he's never really been that guy.
Yeah.
So I think he busts again. I know a lot of people are starting to get on Gabriel Davis. He's another guy that I just don't know about. I know he's supposed to kind of take the bulk receptions with what's his name? Cole Beasley.
Mm-hmm.
Since he left, he's supposed to kind of take over that role, but I just don't know.
Davis is my other bust here because
for his ADP, I think it's pretty high to take a flyer.
I mean, they're ranking him right in the middle of Kirk, Thielen, Mooney, Davis, Shumis, Juju, and Bateman. It's like I'd want everybody else on that besides him.
He's well established, or those other guys are well established.
Yeah, and you also have McKenzie, who is having a tremendous camp. Allen has spoken highly of him. Then they also brought in Jamison Crowder. They have Dawson Knox, and don't forget to have Stephon Diggs. I mean, I understand the industry hype here, but for his ADP, it's too damn high for me. I'm a total fade here. A total fade on Gabriel Davis. I'd rather wait and get a McKenzie, or I'd rather wait and get a Crowder really, really late.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And where he's been drafted too is in that wide receiver tier 4 group, and the company also is Allen Robinson, Jalen Waddle, Deontay Johnson, Darnell Mooney, St. Brown.
Yeah,
I like pretty much every other guy more than I like him.
Yep. I completely agree here. My last bust, not saying there's not other ones, but my last one that I'll talk about on the podcast here is Hunter Renfrow. And man, you watched him last year and you would slap me in the face saying he's a bust. However, when he played with who's a receiver? I just lost my brain. Got in the car crash.
Oh, what's his name?
Man, I totally had a blue brain fart here. But when they played together, he was obviously way out of it. And then now you're going to have Devontae Adams in there, and you're going to have Waller, because Waller missed some time last year too. And it was the Renfrow show for the
Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs. Thank you. Whew. That's one of those times where you're talking and you're like, okay, I had it before, and then you start talking, and you miss it. You're like, oh crap. But no, the Renfrow at ADP, not touching him. I'd rather go a different route here. Obviously, pay up with Adams or go with Darren Waller. Obviously, Renfrow is going to have a role. I just don't think it's going to be as extensive as it was last year. Plain and simple.
See, I agree with you in terms of I don't think he's going to be as productive, but I don't think his ADP is wrong. Like, I think it's pretty fair with the group of guys that are going with him. But yeah, like you said, if you're thinking he's going to produce like he did last year, I don't see it.
Yeah, I see regression coming very fast. Very fast. All right. So to the sleepers, we can be here for about 5 more minutes or so. I mean, there's so many sleepers, so many. Then I'll say my favorite one first. I think, man, I don't even know if this is a sleeper because everybody loves this guy right now. It's George Pickens. He's my number one. I absolutely love everything that you're seeing here. And as I talked before, I think there's hidden gems in the Steelers wide receiver core. So give me George Pickens, and then I'll say my second one is Sky Moore. And I tweeted about him. I'm excited to watch his route tree. I know I was talking about Juju a little bit earlier, but I mean, Sky Moore is going to take backfield carries. He's going to do screen bubbles. He's going to run slant routes. He's going to run deep routes. He is going to be all over the field and be a little bit like a Tyreek 2.0. And he is elite. You saw one of those catches in training camp, or actually in the preseason, where he got his 2 feet in right near the out of bounds line. I mean, he's special. And every aspect of his game, he is special. I'm really excited to see these two guys pop off this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are two on my radar as well. My biggest sleeper right now is DJ Chark. I just think he's a guy ADPY you can get super late, and I really think that he's a guy that's gonna get your 1,000 yards, and he's gonna get a buttload of touchdowns this year. So
I can see it.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think Devontae Smith will have a pretty good year.
Nobody's talking about him.
No, and his ADP is pretty low. And I mean, this is a guy that had 900 yards last year, and you just added a true number one to that team, so he can. I mean, he's going to get open more, and I think they'll utilize him a little bit more. So I think he'll have a pretty good year again. Zay Jones is another guy that I think you can take a shot on. He's got a lot of good chemistry right now with Trevor Lawrence throughout camp. The only issue with him is we haven't seen him really emerge to be a productive fantasy receiver. But I mean, if you're drafting super late, he's a guy that should be on your radar a little bit.
I'll say a couple more. So Chris Olave, love him, and then the other one that I think nobody's really discussing, and he ended up being, I think, their best wide receiver last year, just because his offense has not clicked early on in the training camp. There's issues with who's going to call the plays or whatnot. Jacoby Myers.
Oh yeah, yep.
And he caught 867 yards last year. The 83 receptions, he was the clear number one back there. I know they brought in Devontae Parker, but Mac Jones has had a year under his belt with Jacoby Myers, and he's the guy who plays all over the field. And he's the guy that gets open for him. I see touchdown, positive regression here. I think he can get up to 3-4 touchdowns. And if you do that with the amount of output that he had last year, he creeps up to a very, very solid wide receiver 3 that you can roster weekly.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I have one more, and that is Danny Gray.
Ooh, that is a deep sleeper.
Yeah, if you watch any of the preseason game, he's the 49ers. He's competing for that third spot, and I think he's going to be the deep threat here. Trey Lance connected on that 70+ yard touchdown pass to him. So he's definitely got. I think he ran like a 4.3. Like he's one of the fastest guys in the NFL too. Like he's gonna burn you. And I think with Trey Lance's big arm, we're gonna see, especially in best ball, this is a guy you should probably target because he's gonna have those weeks where he gets you 20 points, but he's also gonna have those weeks where he gets you 1 point.
See, that's the difference between me and you. So that's why I love the way you cap and the way you look at games, because I'm like, man, look at Trey Lance. Look at that throw, man. Trey Lance is awesome. And then you're looking, hey, who caught that ball? And how can I utilize who's catching that ball and go from there? So I love that angle right there, because I'm sitting there like, Trey Lance, his ADP just skyrocketed because of that throw. And you're saying, wow, that guy who caught that pass has a role in this offense for sure. So I like that for sure. All right. So if we missed anybody, if we said somebody that you did not agree with, we would love to hear from you guys. Put a comment on the YouTube channel or comment on one of our posts that we post on this on Twitter. DM us. And if you guys have any questions regarding keepers, any questions regarding dynasty rankings, anything like best ball, let us know. We are here. And if you want to join the Discord, join with the link below in the description. And we talk all things football. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. A little bit more lengthy one, but we had to go deep diving for receivers. The next one we'll go over is our tight ends. And then pretty soon it's just going to be going over seasonal stuff, weekly stuff, our best bets, who we're looking at to target for DFS, news, notes, all kinds of stuff. So we are very excited. We are moving right along, less than a month away from week 1, and we could not be more excited. So with that, we will see you guys next time.
Have a good one.